I liked what the energy minister had to say. The Saudi energy minister had to say this morning. You've got to live in the real world, not on computer models. And he actually challenged the group to find a single time that the IEA has had a single projection that has been correct. So I think it takes a leap of faith to think that if they've never been correct, that they will be correct by 2050. We've got to respond to the world as it is.
Danielle Smith has said numerous times that no credible forecasts are calling for peak oil demand in 2030. This is not true. It's not even close to being true. As an energy journalist, I read plenty of energy demand modeling like OPEC's World Oil Outlook and the International Energy Agency's World Energy Outlook. I've also interviewed experts from many of those agencies and firms, and to test Smith's claim that the government has checked the numbers, I asked ChatGPT to find peak oil demand forecasts. The search turned up only 3 forecasts calling for peak oil demand by 2050. But there are 16, yes, 16 predicting it around 2030. 16 is a far cry from 0. And they aren't obscure think tanks either. The International Energy Agency, oil supermajor Royal Dutch Shell, international consulting firms S&P Global and Wood Mackenzie. So why does Smith continue to make this preposterous claim? One reason is the docile Alberta news media rarely fact checks her on energy issues. For Smith, the issue of future oil demand is about political narrative. Who can tell the best story? Who can persuade voters and federal politicians that Alberta needs to boost production from the oil sands and build pipelines to carry that heavy, sour crude to Asia and Europe? Smith repeats ad nauseum the claim that no credible agency believes in peak oil demand, and after a while, it becomes an accepted truth, especially in Alberta. But it's far more than just the Premier. The Alberta oil industry funds a massive and persuasive narrative machine that has essentially captured the Canadian conversation about energy. Alberta's demands for pipelines, LNG export plants, and repeal of federal regulations dominates headlines and TV newscasts. The strategy is, frankly, brilliantly effective. The oil industry has effectively crowded out discussion about the energy transition and electrification. Smith says they've checked the numbers. Well, who checked the numbers? Experts from the Alberta Department of Energy? Academic economists? Given the poor job they did, my guess is political staffers in the Premier's office. And this seems to be a trend in the UCP government. What kind of bubble does Smith live in that no one has suggested to her that the claim about no credible peak oil demand forecast by 2030 is egregiously wrong? Or have they told her and she just doesn't want to hear inconvenient facts? At a press conference in 2023, I pointed out to her that there are many reputable agencies forecasting peak oil demand by 2030. She brushed off my question and continued with her claim. The Premier appears to have a nasty habit of ignoring evidence when it contradicts her narrative. Unfortunately, that narrative appears to have convinced many Albertans as her popularity continues to rise, aided by oil and gas claims that are demonstrably wrong. This is hardly the only one. Stay tuned. Energy Media will be debunking more of Danielle Smith's energy claims in the future.